Hey, this is Stacia, and we are going to look at a game that I played, a training game on chess.com as part of my Launch to 2000, my new series. So, getting 2000 on lichess is one thing, but I do believe lichess to be a little bit inflated. So, the ratings tend to run about 200 points higher than USCF ratings or chess.com ratings, maybe even more than that. So getting 2000 on chess.com would mean a huge deal to me. So we're going to go for it, right? And hopefully I won't have to change the name to crash down to 1500 on chess.com because that would be embarrassing and not fun. So, okay, here we go. That's not going to happen, by the way. I'm going to crush this thing. Okay, so let's look at this game. My opponent was rated 1663. I was rated 1770 or something like that. D4, G5, Knight C3. Okay, already this is a bit of a weird move. If you play Queen Pawn, then generally you aren't going to get the move E4 in. So generally you're going to play C4 to get the control of the center that way. Now, when you put the knight in front of that C pawn, you're sort of inhibiting your own plan. So I already don't think that's a good move by White, but maybe they have some ideas with this, like a Jobava London system, for example. So they may transpose into a real opening still. So I went knight f6, and yes, indeed, they did transpose. So this is a London system now with the knight on c3. The idea behind this is the knight often comes to b5, puts pressure on c7. The knight's applying pressure on the d5 pawn, but it does block the c pawn, which is a little awkward. But White has mechanisms to deal with this in the opening. But let's see what I played. I went e6. They played a3. And I do not think that a3 is a very good move because I'm not sure what it does. I mean, are they stopping the pin? Because I really had no intention of pinning anyway, so I was planning bishop d6. I don't think a3 is a particularly testing move. I think instead White should probably develop like knight f3 would be a good move, or perhaps e3. Even knight b5, there's cause for that. But okay, they played a3. I went bishop to d6, and they did not trade. They backed the bishop to g3. So the idea is that if I take that, they're going to take back and claim that this open H file is good for them. Now, I probably could do this. I'll ask the engine, because my king is not on the king side, and it wouldn't be out of the question to play moves like knight c6, bishop e7, queen e7, castle queenside, and just say, hey, you've got the open H file, but there's not a king over there, so how good is that? So let's see what the engine says. Yeah, it does not like it. It still does not like it at all. It says they should take. And yeah, I should go knight c6. The way I said is the right way to play, but why give this rook all that scope? Yeah, I agree with that. So, okay. All right, instead I went c6. I'm not that happy with this move either. I would rather go c5 in one move, but I was a little bit worried about knight b5 coming in. I thought that was annoying, so I decided not to do that. Instead, I could have played, like, what happens if I go c5? I am curious about this. I think I was worried about this. And now my bishop's not challenging that bishop, which is an awesome bishop now. So, yeah, and they could even go, well, we just play from here. I guess black's actually completely equal here, if not better, but hard for me to understand that, I guess. Actually, you know what? I do understand it, because when white does this, they're actually giving up something too. I'm giving up a tempo, but they just gave up their center pawn. And another thing that I think is sort of practical is that London system players, especially when they don't understand chess that well, they are not going to give up their d pawn. They want to leave that d pawn there forever, and they want to play e3 and c3 and protect it, and yay d pawn. That's what they usually do. So me being fearful of pawn takes pawn was completely a ghost. Good for me to know. So I played c6 instead, which is fine. I'm not saying it's not fine, but I like to play the best moves when I play chess. So if c5 was better, yeah, it was the top engine move, by the way, then I want to understand the nuances of why I didn't play it, so that maybe next time I do play it. Or maybe I just need to be braver. That could also be true. Okay, anyway, I went c6. They went e3. See, I told you London systems like that. London system players. Castles. Yeah, and I'm a little bit weary of castles. If I could go back, I'm not sure I'll play that move. It seems a little committal. Then again, I'm sort of out of useful moves here. Because what I'm noticing is that I'd love to develop my knight. Well, there's a pawn on c6. That move's kind of ridiculous. Where am I going? There's nowhere to go. And if I go here, I lose a piece. So let's not do that. Kind of same with the bishop. If I go here, I lose a piece. And what am I going to do with this bishop? I guess b6 might be a move. Maybe a6, b5. Can we play b6? I mean, the engine doesn't like it. It says this, g4. Oops. Wow. And it likes white a little bit here. That's interesting. I'm not even really afraid of it, to be honest, but okay, whatever. Whatever, computer, you know best. Okay, so here we go. e3, I castled, which is a little bit committal. When you castle early in a game, you could argue like, yay, my king's safe. That's one argument. Another argument is white now knows where your king lives, and they can make all their moves go towards that king. And that's sort of what my opponent does. So you'll see that. So bishop d3, aiming at the king side, right? Already. Queen e7. I just want to put my knight on d7 and not lose my bishop. Also, I want to prepare c5, maybe e5. f4. A little bit ambitious, in my opinion. White's behind in development, so I think, you know, the luxury of putting their knight behind the pawn seems like a little much to me, but maybe that's fine. Yeah, the engine says it's okay. Okay, let's get the knight in. They go knight to f3. I played a6. Okay. Yeah, I'm playing a bit passive. I tend to do this when I don't know the opening. So one thing I could do is study this opening and get to know it a little more. Another thing I could do is just be more brave in the future and calculate a little bit more, because I wanted to play c5. And I didn't like the fact that my bishop's not developed yet. And I thought, if I go c5, I might have to reckon with things like knight b5. And, well, the engine says we can simply play c4 here. If they take, we simply take. Then they have to move their bishop still. And then we could play b5, and we can play like this. I am getting accustomed to this sort of pawn structure. I've played this many times in the London system, and sometimes in the Queen's Gambit accepted, although I feel like my d pawn's often missing because, you know, you play that in the Queen's Gambit accepted. But yeah, I think I like this position. I could play this. And the engine does say black's a little better. So, okay, I don't have to play a6. I can allow knight b5. So instead, I delayed my pawn break a little, which is inaccurate because the white king is still in the middle, and it's sort of time for black to strike. Instead, I waited, and this move plopped in. Now, this move looks ridiculous at first, but I think it's quite creative. It is quite an attacking move. It puts a lot of pressure on h7 for starters. But also, if I tried to kick this knight out with h6, which I did play, white can play h4. And this is interesting. I don't think I can take the knight. Like, that's a sacrifice that we do not want to take. I felt like this. You know, if I try to save my knight now, I mean, that loses the knight. That loses the knight. I pretty much got to go here. I felt like the queen would be here, and, you know, those are two checkmates. So yeah, I'm getting mated. So I don't think I can just straight take the knight. Now, I do recall the engine gave a line something like take, take, and g6, sacrificing back the knight. I'm not sure I believe in this, though. This still looks very scary to me. One big reason is that, look at this bishop. Okay, our bishop is very sickly on c8. He's not in the game. He's not helping to defend. This bishop's not really helping to defend. I guess I can bring the knight out. I don't know. I'm scared here. Like, I don't know. Pin me? Like, yeah, this is not what we dreamed of. So, yeah. Interesting attacking ideas. Now, I see that the engine is calling h4 a blunder, which is pretty interesting. In the game, I was thinking, okay, if they're going to play on the king side like this and leave their king in the center, I think now I should go for either e5 or c5. And given that e5 is protected 1,000,000 times. No, I'm just kidding. Just 3 times. I thought I would go for c5. So I did that. And I'm happy to see that the engine is telling me that c5 is basically the refutation of this h4 move. Okay, so far so good, but there's still danger in the position. Okay, the engine can say you're fine, but if the position is sharp, that could mean that you're fine if you find some really good moves that are not so easy to see. And if you don't find that, you're losing. You know, like, so yeah, don't be fooled by the engine analysis sometimes. Sometimes it's a narrow path. Okay, so c5, d takes c5. Now I was happy to bring my knight into action, attacking the bishop. One of the attackers, they played queen to f3, I think, preventing me from jumping in there. Yeah, I think so. Although I'm not a big fan of that move, queen to f3. And, well, I felt like, okay, let's take that bishop. Let's take it for a couple of reasons. Number one is we get the bishop here. Okay, that's number one. Number two is if we take and white takes back, we get an open c-file. Okay, I don't think white's castling there. I don't think they're doing that. They might not castle at all, actually. They might go king f2 or something like that. But I feel like taking here, opening that c-file, you know, castling queenside is out of the question. I think it just looks ridiculous at that point. So I really like this move. So I did play it. Let's see if the engine likes it. Wow, the engine sees something even better. Wow, it wants to play e5. Okay, I'm turning it off because we're going to try to figure out what e5 is, okay? e5, wow. Okay, so right away I noticed that we're developed and the white king is sitting on e1 across from the queen, we've got this threat, we've got pressure here, and we just opened up our last piece, the bishop, with this move e5. So, wow, yeah, e5 does a lot of stuff. Now, it's protected 1, 2 times. And we've only got 2 on it, so I feel like black could take. Now, if they take, which maybe they should because we're also threatening that, which is a fork. Okay, we take. Let's say they take. What's going on here? After we take back. I guess knight e4 is an option now. Ooh, there's also this. Okay. With that in the picture, stopping the queen from coming there, suddenly we're threatening to take the knight. Because if we get bishop g4, we take the knight next. Yeah, I'm starting to like this. Yeah, okay. And white needs time to get their king safe. So let's see what the engine says. Yeah, it says -5, so maybe we played this right. Yeah, it wants to play like here, but I was honestly thinking bishop g4. That is the top engine move. Okay. Yeah, because I thought we'd take the knight next. They have to go queen f4. Wow, I would probably trade and take the knight. Is that what the engine wants? It is. Yay. I actually knew something about chess. That happens sometimes. I mean, the knight's attacked, but I was even thinking about maybe taking the rook or playing knight h5. Knight h5 is not good. We should just take that, I guess. If they want to take here, that's great. Now we can take that with check. Yeah, wow. And then maybe here. Yeah, wow. What a position. I definitely like black, though, a lot. We're just up tons of material, right? Up tons of material. So black's winning. Okay, let's go back. I know that was a bit of a rabbit hole, but when the engine shows me a move that I didn't even consider, that is, like, very strong, I want to look at that and understand why. Because then maybe I'll do that next time. Okay. So in the game, though, takes here. Okay, engine back off. Okay, after here, I played bishop d7. I'm just like, hey, I want to connect my rooks, finish my development. And I was thinking about ideas like bishop e5 or b5. Well, and even bishop c6, I thought might be interesting. Lining myself up with the queen so that I could play d4 with tempo. Notice that the knight would be attacked. So that would be a discovered attack. Yeah, so I thought it was a pretty decent move. The engine likes e5 much better. b4 was played. Okay, well, I don't like b4 for white because their king's still in the center. And they're kind of like begging me to do the thing that I want to do, which is take the bishop. So I was like, okay, you know, if you really want me to take, I'll take. I'm like, okay, what's your point? You know, I went bishop c6 now. So I've got this threat. That was one of my ideas. And they went d4. So gotta wonder if we can take the knight. I still don't think that we can. And they stopped my d4 move by playing d4 themselves. So here I came up with sort of a plan for myself. My plan was, okay, there's an open C file. Like, let's put a rook there. And then I'm really starting to think about bishop takes b4. Because on pawn takes, we have queen takes. That's going to come with tempo because the knight's unprotected and pinned. So as you can see, there's some ideas that start to come into play here. But I felt that if I have a rook on the C file, that's going to be useful. The other idea I had was, let's move this rook away and see if we can start to make moves that allow the queen to come in to h5 so that when I get checked, I run away. And if I do run away, that means I can take that knight, and that's going to be material. I didn't see that actually working, though, so I went with this move, rook f to c8. So, and by the way, we are threatening discoveries. I mean, we don't really have any, though. Like, what am I going to do? This? That's not exactly threatening. So, okay. My opponent went king e2, so suspicion confirmed. They did not want a castle, but this looks very risky to me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, really, I think their whole plan of not castling is not going so well because there's an open c file. I mean, imagine a rook landing here. So a king on either of these squares looks bad. Here, I do have a light square bishop, and here I do have a knight that can attack it. I have a dark square bishop that might get in there. A queen. So I don't feel that the king is going to be safe without castling. So I actually am wondering if like castling kingside is actually the right way to go. But if they're going to do that, they need to retreat the knight first. And that wastes time. So yeah, I think white's actually probably just worse. So you heard my entire thought process. My conclusion, white is worse. Okay. Yeah, and a lot of stronger chess players than me would not have to go through that thought process. They would just know intuitively that white's going to be worse. All right, so after king e2, I was like, okay, you know, can I sacrifice now? Because, you know, maybe I've played this game a bit passive, but, you know, the real Stacia likes to sacrifice an attack and go rawr. So yeah, I did play this. I felt it was the best move. Let's see if it was. Okay, it wasn't the best move. The best move was a5. I also consider this move. But I actually was wondering... I was wondering about this for starters. I guess we go bishop e8 here. And black's much better. Because that's the discovery we were talking about. And let's say white, you know, protects the knight that way. Well, then we win this pawn. Now the bishop's going to come here. This is with tempo. Wow, yeah, actually this all looks very good now, right? Are we going to win material? Because that rook is attacked. It has to protect the knight. We could even take this. Look, the knight's pinned now. They take here. We take here. We check. Wow, okay, I really do like a5. Wow. I thought this was annoying, and instead, I did not see all that. That is quite awesome. But wait a minute. Oh, because I was thinking we take. I just didn't even consider bishop e8. I did not even consider that move. Okay. I don't know if that's like a computer thing or if any grandmaster would find that. I don't know which. But anyway, I sacrificed. Now the engine says I'm -7. So let's file this under sound sacrifice. It's not just me being crazy. It's actually a good move. He took. Probably should take that. Got to be up material, right? Queen takes b4. Now the knight's attacked. White played bishop to e1. Kind of a sad move. You know, the rooks are disconnected now. I thought about playing here check with a fork. But I thought they would go here, and then the rook protects that rook. So we can't do that. So I actually played... yeah, I did play that move. I urged him to bring his bishop in, and then played bishop to b5 check. So I thought, if you want to take my bishop, that's great. I can open up my other rook. And then your rook's hanging. Trades are starting to happen. And as soon as trades start happening, you know, if this rook gets diverted, I can take that. So I'll win the material right back. So yeah, they did take, I took, they went here. Yeah, they have to move their rook. Now, just really quickly, the engine thought bishop e5 check immediately is the best move. Wow. Okay. I think I was a little afraid of knight takes because there's a discovery. But now that I look at it, you know, I could take this with check. And now here comes the rook. Right? So here comes the rook. If they come out like this, yeah, I don't think they're surviving this, right? I mean, that's a fork, but they're probably getting mated as far as I can tell. Yeah, like if here, checkmate. If here, checkmate. So, yeah, so they can't do that. So they have to go back. Can't go there. Have to go here, and then here comes the rook. Yeah, I feel like this must be good, but I would be a little nervous that they're getting away. But can we take that now? That's a question. Take. I can move the knight with check. Maybe that's a key point. If they get that, I'm a little worried. There's checkmates. But we get to attack that king. Yeah, and guess what? The king, the only squares that the king can go to sort of stop that whole plan of checkmating me. Because, I mean, if he goes here, he blocks the rook, block the rook, block the rook, block the queen. In the meantime, you know, here comes the black pieces. So, okay. I did not understand all that in this position. So I checked with my queen here and check. And I thought black's better here. I was right. Black is better here. They took, I took. Rook there. Now my queen's attacked, but I saw it. So queen there. Now I saw the other rook could come in, but I thought, okay, queen a2, no problem. And I want to trade rooks. I was kind of hoping for a rook trade. And finally, they move their knight. Yeah, because if they don't, I really was going to take it now. Now with the rook not on h1, I definitely would take it. So they have to spend time on that move. And that is not the best knight I've ever seen. AKA, that knight is sick. He's got chicken pox, and no one wants to come near him. So that's that. All right, knight e4. Let's attack the pinned piece. Put pressure there. I have a student, Sophia, who is pretty excellent at putting pressure on pinned pieces. So I think she would approve of knight e4. Takes. And rook d1. Got to defend that bishop. Yeah, but here comes the rook. So, you know, that's a lot of pressure on that pinned piece. Good luck defending him again. Right? So that's why I liked rook c2. Turns out that was correct. And they went knight to f2. I mean, I don't know what to recommend for white here. I think white's lost, so I'll just show the rest of the game now. I think everything wins. I chose this one because it's check. And after takes, I get knight takes. Now I've got like discoveries. And by the way, your queen's attacked. So yeah, if you try to move your king, I take the queen. And if you don't move your king, yeah, good luck. Because there's discoveries everywhere. Like if here, we still win the queen. If they go, I thought actually queen h3 might be a move. But then I thought knight e4, that attacks the knight again. So if they go here, we take it. That's checkmate. This is just too strong. Game over. I mean, it's got to be game over. The engine says king e1. Okay, well, that loses a queen with check. So if that's the engine move, then it's game over. Yeah, so they did play this, I think. I went knight e4. I did take. They went here. And now we do have checkmate in 1, so if you want to pause your video, go ahead. Yeah, it's knight f6 mate. But when I was little, my mom said, don't play with your food. But I loved to play with my food. So I actually played this move. Playing with my food. Because I saw it was mate no matter what. Here, King H7. Just a very slow and mean move, taking away the last square from that from the white king. And now I'm going to play knight f6. And that's checkmate. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with this game. I think I played it pretty well. I forgot my opening, but yeah, and I played a little too passive for my taste. C5 really was right here, and I guess queen c7. But yeah, I like that I didn't take the knight. I was mindful enough that I would get checkmated, that I left it there. Bishop d7 seems slow, but this is a rapid game. Finding the engine move of e5, I think, might be possible in a slow game for me, but not in a rapid game. I would need to calculate deeply, and that's not something I'm fast at, so. Okay, can't spend 15 minutes in a rapid game. Takes, here. Yeah, I like all of this. I like the sacrifice. I guess my big blunder of the game is actually this move, but I would just call it a mistake, not a blunder. Because this other move is so much stronger. This move to go check like this. And then take. This is just too strong. Everything's coming in. White's gonna be done a lot earlier. But okay. Yeah. I'm glad to, you know, sometimes I'm nervous when I see a bunch of tempo moves coming in and I have to calculate and make sure my queen doesn't get trapped. But my calculations were accurate. I was not in actual danger. And it sort of just facilitated trades, and the bishop ended up pinned, which is what I was hoping for. So overall, I think I'm pretty happy with this one. So this is Stacia, and well, I'll be back with more chess. Thanks for watching. Bye.